Hey, it's Conrad Thompson, and you're listening to Foley is Pod. And of course, we couldn't do it without the hardcore legend himself. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Mick Foley. Mick, how are you, man?
I'm doing great. I'm about as far away from the United States as you could possibly be. Right here in Melbourne, Australia. We just finished our Australia leg of the tour. And now I have this day off, and then tomorrow we head to New Zealand, where I've never been or performed before.
Wow, a first. That's pretty rare for you, right? You go somewhere you've never been.
Yeah. I love Australia. They've always been supportive. Last night during the meet and greet, I met at least a dozen people who've been to every event I've done. 3 different tours, and also went to the promotional tour I did for WWE in, I think, 2001. So these are people, some really diehard fans. They know their stuff. They're passionate about it. A little too passionate about their sports once in a while, if I may express some fisticuffs that went on at the Foley show last night. Are you okay with that? Near fisticuffs. So definitely upending the harmonious nature of the meet and greet. And luckily, this was at a club that it was a top comedy club in all of Australia, the Comics Lounge, and they diffused the situation. It would have been easy. I heard some of the things that were going on, and it kind of threw things off for about 10 minutes because everyone else is in this joyous mood, and these two guys really want to go at each other. So afterwards, I said, what the heck happened? Here, of all things, the two guys were best friends, but they had attended an AFL game where they are bitter rivals. They got into a fist fight before the show over the AFL game. That's Australian rules football game. They got so sick of each other that they decided they needed to cut the line for the VIPs, which you don't do. And we're demanding they get in early. So this is the type of situation, I think, where they will regret their actions.
Yeah.
But it was two best friends getting in one fist fight on the precipice of a second fist fight because one's team had won and the other one did not. And so because they were sick of each other and did not want to stand in line together anymore, they demanded to go up to the front. We're not allowed, and a fisticuffs nearly took place. Just a little, I'd say it's a little bit ridiculous. That's the point where you're taking your sports a little too seriously.
Where was Yerpel when we needed her?
Yerpel could have diffused that situation anyway.
No problem.
Yeah, and also the reason she went with Yerpel is to honor her purple belt in Jeet Kune Do. I just made that up completely. So,
well, something you didn't make up is, man, you're doing a lot of good while you're down yonder, as we say here in Alabama. I saw one heck of a donation made the other day. Tell everybody what's going on.
Yeah. The first you have to keep in mind, the Australian dollar is about 70 cents on the U.S. dollar. So we raised $10,000 in 7 shows, auctioning off the shirts off my back. These are the flannels and the T-shirts. Last night hurt me a little bit because I'd been without my bag for 10 days. I showed up in Australia basically with the clothes on my back, and I had to end up getting another couple pairs of underwear. I had to start using from the Foley, the wanted dead pile. And so when my shirts finally arrived, I was so happy to have 2 shirts that my daughter Noelle had given me. One being Marv from Home Alone, who I will argue is up there with the most extreme hardcore legends we've seen on screen, and every bit the menacing monster that Jason Voorhees or Michael Myers is. Just my humble opinion, because he took such unparalleled punishment. So I love that shirt, and also a shirt that she gave me that says "Be kind" on it. And I'd put that up on social media, so I think people knew I liked it. But that's what I was wearing. And I was rehearsing for my duet of Summer Nights to honor Olivia Newton-John. Because we don't just talk about graphic injuries. We cover the classics, and the promoter said, He's 4:30 in the morning 2 days ago, and he's got no sleep. He's cranky. I'm operating on no sleep. Those are the worst days. You just try to get through them. You get to the next city. You have no sleep. You try to pull it together and be a professional. And at 4:30 in the morning, he's got his bag, and from behind, he hears me going, doom, da doom, da doom, da da da. So I loved Olivia Newton-John, and I just had this idea that I wanted to do something to honor her above and beyond explaining to anybody who gets tongue-tied, at the meet and greet table that, hey, I know how you feel because I met Olivia Newton-John, which is a true story. And my wife marveled how I couldn't put more than a couple words together. But anyway, we've been doing the shirt donations, and they've been going for over $1,000 Australian a night. And then on consecutive nights, the one guy who's rude and selfish by yelling stuff out, the guy who I've got to stop. And I think you've seen me do this, Conrad. I don't browbeat them. I don't make them part of the show. I don't try to get a laugh. I just point out that everybody has made a sacrifice in money and time. Some people have gotten babysitters. I'm pretty sure if we asked everyone here, not a single soul would say they came to hear you. And that's a little bit humbling, right? Like, it's not funny. It's just, okay, you're kind of shaming them into behaving. The second guy was even worse, where I had to take away his beverage.
Oh, wow.
And you do not, at this state, you do not need to be drinking this. He had what looked to me like to be a big pint of Guinness. So I thought, okay, I'll take a drink. I haven't had have a little swig on stage in a couple of years. And as soon as I take a swig, I'm like, that's not Guinness. That's a really strong Jack and Coke filled to the top of like a 32-ounce glass. And he tried to sneak in another one, and I took that from him too, which point it looked like a hurt kid. But on both those nights, when it came to the the shirt off my back auction, these guys are throwing up their hands and going with the biggest bids of the whole tour.
Wow.
So the first guy was $1,500. The second guy he went $2,500. And then so I take off my stuff and I come back and I've got that, that button down Hawaiian Santa shirt that I've worn on the show one or two times. And he asked me if I will sell that for $500. So yes, I will. So look, don't judge a book by its cover. He's probably a good guy who had a little bit too much to drink, but in the end, he made a good decision. It's going to help out a lot of wildlife. So I've lost my phone. I don't know if you know that. I highly advise not leaving your phone behind in the car service in Chicago when you go to Australia. Also, you were on hand when I had the Twitter hack.
Yes.
And that got resolved. But then because the Twitter was hacked, now Gmail decides that they need to make sure it's really me. And I proceed to fail my own security questions twice, and they cut me off. So now I'm going to Australia, as far as you be around the globe. I don't have a phone. I don't have an email. They lose my bag for 11 days. I just got it back yesterday. I've got the shirts on my back. It turns out the 3X underwear that someone buys for you in Australia is not 3X underwear in Australia. So I'm being pinched in ways that I haven't been pinched in years. But nonetheless, having an amazing time and raising money. And oh my goodness, people buy merchandise here. It's on a level that I've never seen. And the shows are going really well. I'd say the one I did in Melbourne on Saturday night was among the top 5 shows I've done in terms of just enjoying myself and having amazing reactions.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Well, congratulations. I'm glad you're having fun.